K7ZYM, KD7ZYM, calling K7ITX, K7ITX. KD7ZYM, calling KD7ITX.
Dave, this is K9PQ. Richard just started the Zoom. K9PQ cleared.
This is Dave, KD7ZYM, understand. evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with a mass scan television repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you will find the frequencies that we transmit on, a little history about our group, and also you'll find a link that will take you to YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5 for the nets. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Hearing none, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. And that again, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Checked in by video link so far is Ron, KD7QKU, Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, WW7N, James, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else that would like to check in?
And 7QO.
It's going to be in and out tonight. Have a good evening, 73, everyone. K9PQ.
7QO, Jim, the net acknowledges you. Bob just checked out in and out on the net this evening. So far we have Ron, Richard, Jim, James, and myself on the net this evening. So we'll start out with Ron, KD7QKU. QKU.
Dave.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. KD7QKU here. Well, my wife just came in and told me the neighbor had passed away today. He'd been in hospice. He lived longer than I expected him. So anyway, that's too bad. He was on, kidney dialysis, and he had a whole bunch of things wrong with him. And he was, I think, maybe a little older than I am. He'd been on dialysis for a long, long time. So anyway, well, here we are again. I guess Bob didn't want to stick around. Apparently the TV repeater isn't working well. But, I was trying to tell him, but I didn't really get to. I had to go to the bathroom before the net started, so I left. But, I've been using Zoom for 2 years over here in Tacoma, and it works just fine. I'm perfectly happy, and it's good to see you guys and talk to you. We use a 2-meter repeater, but we really wouldn't have to. We could use Zoom. But anyway, that's fine. The radio works great. So let's see. Well, we kind of dodged a bullet over here in Tacoma as far as the snow went. So last night, when it was, 7:30, 8 o'clock, it was 31.8 degrees, and I looked at my phone and it said it was snowing the weather in Tacoma, so I looked outside, and it was raining. I couldn't believe that it would rain at 31 degrees, and it wouldn't be snowing. But it didn't snow. It just rained, and nothing froze. So I had 55/100ths of an inch of rain last night, so we had quite a bit of rain. So anyway, that was what we had here. So I guess I'm kind of glad it didn't snow. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I like the snow. It's real pretty, and we don't have to go to work or go anyplace. We have plenty of food in the grocery store, drugstore just close by. We could drive over there real easy if we had to. But anyway, it's a lot easier on other folks if it doesn't snow. I guess I turned on the Lyman Hill repeater this morning. They got quite a bit of snow up there. It was colder and windier and everything. So those guys, they were some enjoying it, some don't. So anyway, so I guess that's about it for now. I'll just turn it back to Dave and see what everyone else has to say. So KD7QKU, back to KD7ZYM.
KU, thanks for that, Ron. Well, let's go to Kent, to Richard, K7ITX.
Yeah, I think we dodged a bullet here too, as well. So anyway, I mean, we had ice, we had freezing rain, you know, but I've seen much, much worse. I mean, I think maybe I saw 1/32 or 16th at the most inch of ice on limbs and things, and not all of them. So it really, now I can't speak for the streets. We didn't chance it until it seemed like it melted quite a bit. So anyway, let's see here. I was going to show you guys a video here. Let's see. Let's put the share screen button going here. So, you know, I've been kind of following this Icelandic thing quite a bit, and let's see if I can get the full screen going here. I guess not. Alright, well, that's good enough for now. So, anyway, here's a video of the latest eruption that actually hit the outskirts of the town of Grindavik. And so just kind of moving along here. You can see, let's get it moving. Well, wait a minute. I mean, geez, let me back up a little bit here. Yeah, so as we're coming in, you can see right here the lava field that started coming in. And this is the drone shot, of course. Can't fly the drones over the houses, but you can fly it over the lava field. And as we get closer in this view, you'll be able to see just some of that, burned down about 2 or 3 houses. I'll scoot this along a little bit quicker. Whoops, don't want to go that fast. Okay, so now you can see where some of the houses burned. There's some of the ash destruction. Of course, there's no lava where it didn't need to go. I mean, the fire just spread. But as this drone flies along, you can see now where they're starting to construct another berm, a berm within a berm. When they realize, I mean, it sounds kind of weird to say that, but when they realize that, why do I have that like that? Okay, whatever. So they realize that now, more than likely, like that again. So more than likely, there's going to be another eruption. Probably about another month from now. The ground is still going up. Yeah, right here. So here's the new berm they're constructing. Here's the old berm out here. But so you know, so it's kind of a crazy. You know, they're working 24/7. So anyway, thought this would be interesting to show you this. And then look at this tower here. It's kind of in a precarious situation. I don't know if they're building a berm around that or not, but they might want to think about it. Well, they can only do so much. I mean, this is Mother Nature. So anyway, I'll have another video, a little bit kind of inside the town, if it makes it back to me again, hopefully. So with that, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. And it's time for an ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, let's move down to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, Ron, my condolences about Mike. Yeah, I guess we saw that coming. Sorry about that. Well, let's see, raining instead of snowing. I experienced that as well here. And let's see, Dick, ice, freezing rain, dodged a bullet. Yeah, I think so too. I've got, when I got up this morning, we had basically the whole street in front of my place was a sheet of ice. And then by about lunchtime or so, it began raining, and by shortly before dark, there were just a couple of patches of ice out there. It has since stopped raining. It's supposed to stay above freezing overnight tonight. I've got 35 degrees right now. I'll bet the ground is cold from that cold snap that we had, so I don't know, I didn't measure the temperature of the ground, but I'll bet there are going to be some patches of ice around in the morning anyway, by me. But yeah, we dodged a bullet there. I'm glad it's not snow anyway. Volcano, yeah, I can't see the pictures there. At least I got the inside of the repeater okay, so the repeater shack is working. The repeater television transmitter is working fine. Can't say I have any other news here. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Bellevue, to James, WW7ATS.
Okay, Dave, signal check here. Is this audio coming through? Because I noticed that the identifier does not say R after it. So I think we're, let's see, I guess that would be Cougar, wouldn't it? Okay, well, I got thumbs up here, so I guess the CL tone will work. I'll tell you, Ron, I wanted to say, your condolences on Mike. That's I hope your relatives are doing okay. Yeah, your relatives over there. But here's the question I really have for the group tonight. I've lived in
It's pretty bad, James. You have a lot of white noise or static on you.
Yeah, might check your tone, 103.5.
103.5. So I'm going to a repeater that's physically closer. So is that helping out?
A little bit better, not as much hash on it.
And Echolink is down on site, as well as the digital side. However, the analog is okay. I've got a picture of the shack up there right now. So that's that report. The question I have for the group is about freezing pipes. I lived in the same neighborhood for 30 years, and I can remember one frozen pipe, and I think that was when it got really cold a few years ago, and that was just so idiotically installed. It was like, what would you expect? I mean, it was a bare naked helpless pipe going out from under the kitchen sink, under the house, uninsulated all the way out to the deck, uninsulated. So what a surprise, it froze and broke. Other than that, we've had no frozen pipes on the street, which is kind of amazing if you look at some of the plumbing. It was until this year, and every year I send out a little email to people saying, you know, be sure and shut off your outside, your valves to your outside supplies for sprinkler systems and outside taps, and open them up and drain all the water out and do all that good stuff. But I guess this year either people, I just didn't hook in and do it, or I'm not sure what happened. We had 4 homes out of 35 with broken pipes in them. 4 out of 35. And I'm just wondering, I mean, we had cold here, but as all of you pointed out, we didn't have a lot of ice and snow. And the last time it was, I think, 10 degrees Fahrenheit. We had ice and snow out my back window, a lot of it actually. And I'm wondering if the ice and snow insulated some of these pipes in the past, or what, with the wind? I can't figure it out. Why would the pipes be breaking so much more this year than in past years? And we're talking a 3-decade sample here. So if any of you have any ideas on what causes pipes to break, let me know. My house got through unscathed, barely. But I was out there with a thermometer at one point measuring one of my pipes using an optical thermometer. So anyway, that's my question to the group here, is why this year did it seem so much colder when actually it's gotten colder within the last 3 years? WW7N. Back to you, Dave. Take it away.
WW7N, this is Dave, KD7CYM. Well, I think it's a plumber conspiracy that's happening at your complex. But weather-wise here in Lake City, I got 35 degrees. And boy, it rained pretty good this morning. And then this afternoon, these little white flakes came down. There was probably about a 1/4 inch hit the ground. Most of it's melted away already. But there was a little white gathering, you might say, around the neighborhood when that episode happened late this afternoon. But most of it's gone at this point. So that's how it goes. Well, again, my condolences to Ron's neighbor that passed away. And oh my, Richard with freezing rain, but that's good. But I don't know, I don't think they can call it Iceland anymore. I think it's got to be Hotland. It's changing away name. But that's happening. And Jim with no frozen pipes till just this year, everything going boom, boom, boom. But, you know, somebody's got to support the plumbers, and I guess your group, your condominium group is going to be supporting that this winter. Hopefully that'll get cleared up. I know I did open up the valves for my sinks and let them dribble a little bit in my kitchen, bathroom, and basement. And then opened up the cupboards in my kitchen that had an outside wall that had pipes coming into the kitchen. So that seemed to not bite the bullet anyway. So I feel I succeeded with that. So anyway, I might say I've been kind of a shut-in for the last couple of days and have no feeling to want to get out till maybe this Friday. What's happening in the world, but I'm quite comfortable at home. So I'll pass it on now to Ron, KD7QKU.
Well, thanks you guys for condolences on Mike. I'll try to pass that on to Judy. I have 39 degrees here. I guess I'm in the banana belt. And then maybe, Dave, your next go around, you can give us a report on your brother Don. My son, he lives out on the Key Peninsula, and he was worried about his pipes in their shop. He has a well, and all of his stuff for the well is in the shop, and it's like 40 by 60. He can't really heat it very. It's a metal building, not uninsulated basically. He can't heat it very well, so he kind of built a tent around his tank and everything for the well water, and put a heater in there, and he was hoping electricity wouldn't go up. So now he tells me he's gonna move all that. He's gonna take it out of the shop. He's gonna go out closer to the well and build a well house and put all the stuff out there and insulate it, and then he can heat it better, and won't have to try to heat the whole shop. And I think that's a good idea. Probably should have done that in the first place. I don't think he wanted a little building out there in the middle of his yard, but I think he's going to put the little building up. I think that's a good idea. And then he was telling me that my grandson, I guess it's my grandson, his son. He lived, at, I can't say it, over by Auburn. What's the lake over there? Anyway, he lived over there, and they sold, and they went to Texas, and he lives, I think it's called Rose City. It's kind of a suburb of Dallas. And I had noticed on the, on the weather report, National Weather Report, and it was 20 degrees in Dallas. And so then Mike sent me a text and said Alan had called him and said that their pipes had frozen up in a new house. They bought a new house there in a new development. Said their pipes had frozen up, and it was 20 degrees. He got his thought out, and without anything broken, but a lot of the neighbors, I guess, had broken pipes. So I guess Texas got a bunch of cold temperature too. So what else is going on? Well, I had this COVID, and I got over it a few weeks ago, but it seems like I feel good one day and I feel bad the next day. Yesterday, I felt really pretty good. I felt okay when I got up, and as the day went on, I had more and more ambition. I was kind of bored sitting here, and I actually turned on my HF radio and played with that and listened to a few people, didn't talk to anybody, and was thinking about some projects and everything else. And then I went to bed. I woke up about 3 o'clock. I was cold. I was half uncovered. I don't know if it was a cat or if it was me. The cat was on top of the covers. I had to move her so I could get him back over me. And I got up, went to the bathroom. My throat was a little scratchy. Came back to bed, got up this morning, just felt like crud. It was like that all day. And I don't know. Tomorrow I'll probably feel just fine. It's the way it's been going. One day cruddy, next day pretty good. So I didn't do much today, just sat in the recliner and watched TV. TV didn't even want to work good. So we have Rainier Connect, and it's streaming. And I think there was so many people home from school and didn't work and everything. I think that, what do you want to call it? The internet was overloaded because, it kept spooling, and I'd lose stuff. I tried to watch this movie 4 or 5 times, and I just get to about the same place each time, and it starts spooling or whatever you call it, and that'd go away. Finally, I gave up and went someplace else, but I just don't think there was enough, whatever it is, for movies in my neighborhood anyway. So that was kind of disgusting. So anyway, my throat's still a little scratchy tonight. I don't know. I actually thought when I got up I felt so bad 2 days ago. I just felt really bad 2 days ago. And when I went to bed, I told Joanne when I got up in the morning I was going to test for COVID, and I thought I actually might have COVID again. And I even looked up on my phone to see if you could have it more than once. It kind of said you could, but it usually was a different strain that you would get. So, I don't know. But anyway, then I got up and I felt fine. I went to bed. I thought I was coming down with COVID, and I got up the next morning and I felt fine. And then, like I say, I got up this morning and I didn't think I was getting COVID this morning, but it felt more like I was trying to get a cold or a sore throat or something. So I don't know. It's just disgusting. I need fresh air and sunshine, I think, a little bit of exercise. All right, that's my complaint. Yeah, and Dave, if you could think about it, maybe you could give us a report on your brother. Okay, back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU, let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Yeah, sorry about that, Ron. Sorry to hear that. I hope that isn't COVID. There is they do call something out there called long COVID, so I don't know. Not that you have it, but it's maybe something to, well, you seem to be aware of it anyway. And then, if you can think about giving a report on your upper molar that you were talking about a couple weeks ago, because I had the lower molar situation, and so I don't think it's, I don't know, I'm going, I waited 2 weeks, and it's kind of morphed from, I think, my tooth. Now it's like the gum on top of jaw structure that had been cut for an impactive wisdom tooth when I was a young guy. And so I'm thinking, God, is that rearing its ugly head anyway? Hurts, well, doesn't really hurt. It's not anything that bothers me right now, but just for the hell of it, I have an electric toothbrush, and just for the fun of it, a Sonicare, and I thought, well, they said be careful with flossing and stuff, but I thought, well, I'll just, I usually kind of brush my gums right along with my teeth, and so I went over, holy moly, toothpaste, everything all over the place, it got all over me. It was like I'd been shot by a gun in my mouth. Holy Toledo. So when I go to the dentist tomorrow, I'm going to tell him, if you plan on poking around, I think you might want to use some Novocaine, because, and I'll tell him what happened, because, but I have a feeling that this isn't a dental thing now. I think it's getting down to oral surgery, or maybe a course of antibiotics. That might be all it takes. What do I know? Okay, James, on your question about frozen pipes, my experience with frozen pipes, generally it has to do when there is high winds associated with the lower temperatures, and we did definitely have that. There's, and it kind of depends on the exposure of where the high winds are coming out of versus where your pipe is. And the last time I had a broken pipe, it was exactly that scenario. And but now I can bleed that pipe. I got a valve there, so every winter I always bleed it now, and it's not an issue. But that would be my guess, that it just has to do, because we've had some, like you said, snow and ice and really low temperatures, but not generally associated with 40 miles, 50 mile per hour winds. And I think maybe in Bellevue you had some pretty high winds. So, I know we did around Kent. See if I can be pretty quick about this. Just back to, here's this old Icelander here. We'll start it up. He's, kind of a, rescue worker sort of guy. And so this is in the town itself. So the town itself is, right off the bat there, he almost falls into a crevice right there. They had a guy, they lost someone recently, and so I guess what they're thinking is that there is a river or a lake underneath the town now, which I can imagine with the hot geothermal activity is going to, ice would melt, and fell in the crevice the last time somewhere in town was never to be found. And so, you know, I'm just guessing, and they talked about a lake. I'm guessing that water is just hotter than heck. You fall in the crevice and hit the stream or the lake that's under there, and you're just going to cook, and that'll be it. So they never did find the guy. So anyway, that being said, let's see here. So here is a crevice where you can see it's been worked over, once before recently with asphalt. They, trying to fix everything, and then it just opens right back up. So, and there's, see, look, so there's more of these are popping up everywhere. The ground is very unstable. Hold it, right there. Wait, I'll go back for a second. Now, okay, right there. So you can see the pipes that get uncovered, and so that's a big problem. Main pipes from the city, from the thermal power plant, were cut off by the eruption this time. So, they use hot water to heat their homes straight from the geothermal plant. So that's all messed up. Well, those pipes are now frozen, and so there's damage from that. It's going to be a long time before anyone, then it becomes a question, will anybody ever live there again? Yeah, God, I don't know. So more cracks in the roads, and see, you just can't, just regular old Joe Blow can't be walking around this place. Good chance you might not come back to your family if you do. At least these guys are experienced, they know what to look for, but gee, Merry Christmas. And this all happened Saturday night, not much longer after the net. Mika and I were just, surfing YouTube, and all of a sudden, now look at this house. I don't think you're going to want to live here anymore. The slab and everything got kind of tilted, and look at even the street there. How do you fix something like that? I don't think you really do. You just tear it down and, oh man, alive, God. That just blows my mind. And then to have relatives that live over there, it's, Debbie's cousin was up on her roof Saturday night, and so anyway, it's a great thing to watch on YouTube, when and it just puts you to sleep, it's just kind of mesmerizing. It's very beautiful, but sad at the same time. Oh, and let's see, what else do we got here? This lake that grew automatically, or that's what they're talking about here. So there's this lake that used to be a lot smaller, and now it's bigger. And I'm not sure if there's anything else worth looking at. Oh, well, yeah, it's kind of sad. Oh, well, yeah, there's one thing that kind of caught my interest. If I can go back to, let's see, I have to back up a little bit. Let's see. Doggone, get going. Let's see, where is it? So you can see the lava, encroaching down, going down the street there. What about that car? Those cars in that driveway? Those guys are kind of brave, aren't they? Jeez. And there's two of them, two nice late model cars. Here's a weird shot, isn't it? With the soccer field. Jeez. So anyway, I just thought it'd be fun to show this stuff, even though it's not on, I'm sorry it's not online, but I'm sure there's going to be, unfortunately, a lot more to this. K7ITX, back to net control.
WW7ATS. Thanks for that, Richard. Well, let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, I think Dick might have something there about the wind. I don't know. I can say this, though. I don't remember a time that I've been here where the temperature has been that cold for that long a period of time. The fellow who originally built my house here said that he had a pipe freeze on him. He said he was gone, and the temperature got down to 14 degrees, and a pipe broke. Well, I don't know. I should have asked him if he turned the heat down or turned it off or something, since he was going to be away. But the temperature here got down to 15 degrees one night, and I didn't have any problems with any pipes. But it remained for, I don't know, maybe about 3 days. The temperature was 24 degrees or less over here. So I think that has something to do with it. Let's see. Ron, you feel kind of cruddy now. Yeah. My wife is pretty much like that right now, too. She thinks she has a cold. She's sneezing and has a runny nose and a sore throat and a cough. So she's not really doing anything now, not going anywhere, because she doesn't want to give it to anyone. She did have a dentist appointment, which she canceled. So I don't know. It seems like there's something going around. And the heck of it is, you don't always know where you caught this thing from. But that's what's going on there. Oh, Dick, the fellow dropping into the crevice there got cooked. That sounds unpleasant. Oh, man. Yeah, I did see some video of that on television, of that volcano. It looked like it was getting more serious. Another eruption. Don't know if they're going to have another. It's just kind of that part of the world. Hopefully it won't kill any more people. Just have to watch out for it. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO, get an ID in here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television's network, and I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
WW7N.
QO, you there?
Yeah, Dave, I just transmitted. Did you not hear anything?
I got a little something. You said I just transmitted. That was the only thing I've heard.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Just transmitted, and I think that he's not on digital side. So I think you mean me, James WW7N, right?
Called out to Jim, N7QO, but go ahead, Jim, WW7N.
Okay, I missed some of that. WU7N, what were you saying there?
So, let's see. I looked up the actual Icelandic word for Iceland, and it is still Islandi. Is that correct? What the word is? And I think it looks to me like, just looking at it, in fact, that does translate directly into Iceland. I was wondering sometimes the natives are smarter than the English people coming in, and they'll name something like, Death River, if you translate it out of Apache. Well, gee, that means you shouldn't probably go whitewater rafting on that river, which has now been renamed, something else now. I just had to check that real quick, but no, apparently it's Islandi, which looks to me like Iceland. But yeah, I think Lava Land would be a better name for the country now. Let's see. Oh yes, and Ron, pump houses. Yeah, they always seem to get rebuilt. They always have at least 2 generations, because the first time they get built with a very sturdy wood construction around them, but no insulation and no way to warm them up. And then they have the first hard winter, and they get rebuilt or remodified. I know a pump house that's up in the mountains, and they have 3 layers of redundancy. The electricity goes out, then they have a generator. If that goes out, then I think propane is next. And I've asked them if they ever got to the 3rd layer, and they said no, because that's on a thermostat, kind of the last-ditch thing. And I said, well, if it doesn't work, would it set the pump house on fire? And he goes, oh, that's the 4th layer of redundancy. So I guess, it pays to have a sense of humor with these things. Let's see. Texas, at this point, you have no excuse for frozen pipes in the state of Texas. Every pipe in the state of Texas should have 4 inches of mylar around it at this point, at least, including the ones in your bathroom. I mean, come on. They got kicked with this idea that it won't get lower than a certain temperature, except once every 100 years or something, but the statistician that told them that didn't say, well, that doesn't mean you're going to go 100 years necessarily till that happens. And as you recall, they were kind of outside the regular energy swap grid, so when they had that bitterly cold winter, what was it, 1 or 2 years ago, everything froze. And I had a couple friends there telling me that, they were doing everything they could, and they still froze. Because without electricity, without natural gas, which either powered the heat or powered the electricity, they had nothing. I think you said this morning was the time that you had problems with the internet. Here in Bellevue, I had problems with my internet this morning as well, and I ended up having to reboot, recheck. I did some checks, and I think there was just too much traffic going on there, and maybe some with everything going on in the Midwest. It is amazing sometimes where you get routed. If you actually do trace routes and look to see where your bits are flying, it wouldn't surprise me if some of the harsh weather in the interior is affecting a lot of other places because of the way they may route the bits around. Richard, yes, I have. I'm moving down the river of denial, as I say. I've got one tooth that's really getting more and more temperature sensitive, and I managed to struggle along with it all day long until I put mouthwash on it, and then it's the same gunshot kind of effect. I can even handle ice cream. I'm good enough with ice cream that I can juggle that around and avoid it. But the mouthwash, there's no mercy there. So I probably need to go see somebody. The dentist gave me the option. He said, well, you can try first replacing that filling, because maybe it's just kind of there's loose filling or some cracks or something. But then he said the endodontist, which of course is the root canal guy. And my problem with going to a surgeon is if you say you have a sore finger, he wants to cut into your finger, and the root canal guy, what's he always want to do? Yeah. So I guess so, but if it keeps hurting like this, that's probably what I'm going to have to do. And I appreciate your comments out there on wind, because air's a fluid, and I'm thinking that must be what is different this time. We had no insulation in terms of snow and ice, and we did have wind. We had some pretty significant wind. Now people are going, but it made it through all the cold, and I had to explain the physics to several people that when a pipe freezes with ice, you break it, but there's solid ice in the pipe, so no water comes out. Okay, so these pipes could have broken on Friday. And, they didn't, there wasn't, panic and, like in that Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea series where the water's pouring into the room until it actually thaws out. And I was trying to explain that to someone. There were some text messages going around last night, and I go, no, this is not something you try and explain on text, because I don't want to make anyone feel silly. But if the pipe is solid ice expands, that shatters the pipe. And if it's a good, solid ice, which it probably was in a lot of these, There's no water coming out till you get up to at least, 33, 34 degrees for a while. And then, though, one lady said it sounded like a bang, and it sounded to me like the pipe had broken, and it was just like a gun shooting a big plug of ice out of this thing when it finally, cut loose. It just really did a job on the pipe. I'm assuming it was PVC Schedule 40 or something like that. Anyway, that was her excitement, definitely a little waker-upper event, but the sad thing is, I said I'd come down and look at it, but she goes, no, might as well get the plumber out here. He installed that and warned her. Supposedly his defense was, no, I told you every fall you have to twist this little twisty knob here on the submarine, and then you have to go out there and open up the twisty knob out there. And she was saying to me, he probably did. And I said, no, you have to, as soon as somebody gives you instructions like that, you have to type it down on a piece of paper, laminate it, and staple it to the wall right above the valve, with a little arrow pointing at it. Because nobody remembers that a year later. I told her, you shouldn't feel bad about that. You just forgot to do it. But it's two houses now. If they had simply turned the valve off inside and then drained all the lines going to the outside, they would have been fine. So I'm not quite sure how they've managed to go this long, though, and not have a problem before. But as you said, maybe it was the wind this time. WW7N, let me turn it back to Dave in Seattle, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society.
WU7N, this is Dave, KD7CYM. Well, I give an update on my brother, K7NKK, who just had a stem cell transplant 2 weeks ago. He's since had 4 blood transfusions. It's been 2 weeks now, and they say that within 2 weeks to 3 weeks is the period where the body starts building up antibodies again and producing red blood cells. So he's a little bit got his fingers crossed at this point. He thought it's been a little late, but anyway, all of his professional staff around him, medical-wise, tells him that he's on schedule and everything should be okay. So anyway, he's still being very up about the whole thing. So anyway, let's hope that works. Let's see, everybody's talking about tooth problems. I was going to say holy moly, but I guess it's holy molar. So that would be what to say with that. And as far as frozen pipes, oh my gosh, about 25 years ago we had sub-temperatures that lasted a whole week, maybe a week to 10 days in this area. But it was after the thaw, it warmed up, but there was still frozen pipes, the frozen water in the pipes. And so it was about 2 or 3 days later, all of a sudden everybody was getting reports of frozen, broken pipes because the ice finally had melted in the pipes, and then the water started trickling and flowing out from the plug anyway, not being there anymore. So that was kind of interesting. And let's see, I was fooling around with television yesterday out of boredom, and I found channel 51. That's where CW has moved to, the CW channel. Como picked it up, and they've ran it as 4-2 for a while, but since they own channel 51, they moved it over to channel 51, and the CW is there now. And I noticed Sinclair had their national newscast on last evening at 7:30, and it's a little bit right of Fox News, you might say. So it was kind of interesting. All of Sinclair's people that are a little bit right of Fox News casters were presenting the news with their wit, you might say. I wouldn't call it news, but wit. Anyway, it was their interpretation of what was going on a little bit to the right of Fox. So that's my update, what's happening in broadcast news from Sinclair Broadcasting. So with that, this is Dave, KD7CYM, and I'll send it up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thanks again, Dave. KD7QKU here. Well, I'm glad to hear that so far Don's doing pretty good, and we'll all keep our fingers crossed and keep him in our prayers that he recovers completely and returns to normal. Well, when my son was talking to me about his son down in Texas, he was saying the same thing. A couple of years ago, they had I guess a pretty good storm down there. Everything froze up and they run out of electricity and everything else. So Alan actually had to wait for this house to be built for him before they could move down there. They were behind schedule on completing it, but anyway. And Mike was wondering what kind of building codes they have that, the pipes freeze at 20 degrees. So anyway. So when we lived in Bellevue, I had one pipe that would freeze all the time. I don't know what the people did before we moved in. So what they did is they brought this pipe over and stuck it outside, so you had a faucet outside, but it laid right on top of the foundation. And so then it came back, and then it came up and went up to the cold water in the kitchen. And so when we first moved there, I don't know, must have got down in the teens, kitchen water froze up. Well, first thing I did is I cut the sheetrock out underneath the sink so I could see the pipes. And then I got a piece of tin and screwed it to the shiplap or whatever was in there behind the pipe, and then I got my little propane torch and I warmed the pipe up, and of course then the water ran. So then later I crawled underneath the house, I suppose, sometime and looked at the pipes, and then I realized, and it was right next to a vent too, so the cold air would come in and freeze those pipes. So every winter I would plug that vent so the cold air couldn't come in, and then I would wrap that faucet, and then we'd leave the doors underneath the sink open, and then 9 chances out of 10 that pipe would be okay. But I think we lived there 50 years, and I think 2 or 3 times I had to take a propane torch. Maybe later on I had a heat gun, but to begin with I used a propane torch and would have to warm that pipe up. But it never broke. Pipe never broke. So this house, I think the pipes run up the middle of the house. The kitchen's not on an outside wall, but it comes up the middle and goes into the bathroom that's straight down the hall from the kitchen, and then it goes in, and that's behind the garage, and then it goes into the master bathroom, and it's an outside wall. The sink is on an outside wall, but the shower, the toilet and the sink outside wall, but the shower is on the inside wall. And I didn't open the cupboard doors down there. I forgot about it, to tell you the truth. But we got down to, 16 or something, 17 for a couple of days. To my knowledge, it never froze. Joanne never said water wouldn't come out. So. And I don't know what our pipes are made out of. I've never been underneath the house. Other people have, but no one ever told me what the pipes look like. Wade's been under my house. I'll have to ask Wade. I was hoping he'd be here tonight, but I guess he's not. I wasn't going to ask him, but I was going to ask him if he went camping with the Boy Scouts last weekend, because he was here on Wednesday and he said he wouldn't be here on Saturday because they were going to go up the Snoqualmie Pass. I don't know if they were camping. They were going to go up and do something in the snow. It would have been interesting to hear about that. And as far as my tooth goes, Richard, I've been on antibiotics now for, a week. It was 10 days, and it's fine. No soreness. I can wiggle my mouth all around. I'm fine. So it must have been an infected root or something up there. And right now I'm about 39 degrees. And I don't know if we talked about the Husky coach, but we got a new Husky coach. And so there's a lot of teams that fired their coaches, and there's 2 or 3 really good pro coaches that are available, and there's more jobs to fill than there is coaches, so it will be interesting to see where everybody ends up and who all the new coaches will be. But it go back to the Huskies, it sounds like either that, maybe Richard knows, it was either the Arizona, that Jed Fish, I guess is his name, Jeb Fish. His offensive or defensive coordinator was Pete Carroll's son, and I guess he's going to come up to the Washington Huskies too, so that's kind of interesting. I don't know about the quarterback deal yet, whether our quarterback is leaving and if the Arizona quarterback's going to come, I don't know, but they'll get it all figured out one of these days, I suppose. So that's sort of an interesting. That Jed, I guess his name is Jeb Fish. He looks like a real nice guy. Got a nice-looking wife, and I think he's got 3 children, maybe 2 girls and a boy. But anyway, it's all a nice family. I suppose they're out looking for a home up here now. They're with what's he get? $7 million a year or something. You probably look for a house on Lake Washington. Who knows? Anyway, all right, that's enough. Back to net. KD7QKU.
QKU, let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
I can't let this go unsaid. I don't want to belabor football, but I relished the Dallas Green Bay game this weekend. I'm not a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys, and they just got creamed. I mean, it was probably the worst defeat. They practically, the other team, Green Bay, practically had 50 points. 50 points! Well, not quite 48, but in my book, that's good enough to call it 50. And Dallas, they just looked awful. And then, whenever the quarterback throws an interception that goes for a touchdown, they call that pick 6. Well, boy, I mean, it was worse than that, though. Their defense was awful. Green Bay had people just wide. Anyway, they're saying it was the worst defeat for Jerry Jones, the owner, in his entire career as owner of Dallas, and I think so. I mean, he just looked like he was struck by lightning. I mean, he looked so bewildered and belittled, and the reaction of all the fans on YouTube, there's like gonna, revolt, turn in their tickets. Just unbelievable game. The Dallas cannot move forward, period. They haven't done it for, 25 years. I was just thinking, 25 years ago, I was just, 35? And they haven't done anything since. So anyway, I was just pretty excited normally I don't like games that are lopsided, but when it's a team that's basically my arch enemy, I kind of sit back and smile. K7ITX, 73, back to net control.
ITX, thanks for that. Let's go to Jim, M7QO in Covington.
And 7QO, thank you, Dave. Did you hear my last transmission okay, or what happened there?
Came through okay.
Thanks. Well, let's see. Jim, yeah, I had water pipes break when I was in Texas. What they did there, the houses were built on a slab, so they ran the sewer lines through the slab, but the water pipes ran through the attic. And I was actually off on a trip and gone for several days, and my wife was, I don't remember where she was, but she was out of town as well. And I came home from this trip, walked in the front door, and squish, squish, squish. And I found that, my place flooded. What happened, fortunately, a neighbor saw water gushing from my attic and went and turned off my water. So, no significant insulation in the attic. Oh well. Dave, Dave. Glad your brother's making progress. We'll keep him on the prayer list. And Ron, new coaches, yeah, gotta get that all figured out. Dick, arch enemy, wow. I saw part of that Packers Cowboys game, and yeah, oh well. Good luck, Dallas. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
7QO, and it's time to terminate the net. Unfortunately, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 for voice transmissions for our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, terminating the net at 9:01. Good evening, all.